Hey everyone, welcome back to Google Workspace Recap, your number one source for everything Workspace by the Tab Geeks Network. My name is Jesse Nolan, my co-host is Steve Larson, and we're here to help you keep up. Bring on the Bard. It's going to be most of the episode tonight. Not only did Google announce Google Bard, their answer to ChatGPT, but they gave some of us access, and Steve and I were, well, lucky, I guess, enough to be among those who did. Now, that being said, there are a couple of things to note. It does not currently work with Google Workspace accounts, so I had to dig into my ancient, original, OG Google Workspace account from high school in order to sign up.
Gmail
also,
account.
Yeah, my Gmail account, correct.
Gmail.
I also, as part of my research, didn't want to leave the other Google Assistant out of the loop and included it and asked my Google Assistant what it thought of Bard. And it immediately had a panic attack, switching screens and trying to show me different YouTube videos until it just got stuck on a black screen and gave up. So, it gave up. No hard feelings, I guess, to the other Google Assistant out there, but it seems to be having some issues around Bard. So I suggest all of you go and try that out. Let me know what happens, because I don't know if it's just mine that is having a meltdown, but that was interesting.
What was the question you asked it?
I asked it what it thought about Google Bard, and it basically just melted down from there.
Okay.
But on the upside, Google Bard knows who we are. Google Workspace Recap. So more on that later. Steve, what was your testing experience like?
I did a very limited test of it. I think I, asked it to recap, last year's updates, which is what the first question I had to the ChatGPT engine was. And of course, Google's was a little bit more accurate. Well, I had a response actually because its data was more up to date.
Yep, you were.
So it was able to provide a response to that question about the updates. And, I really haven't done too much other than that. I think I had the kids ask it a question about writing a play based around Minecraft and things like that. And, it wrote a few scenes. So it was interesting. I haven't really played with it that much. I don't know how interesting it will be in, actual application for stuff that I work on, but it is nice to, one nice aspect of it, it did give you like three responses, three different formats of responses automatically for each question for the most part. So that was something different to what I was seeing in ChatGPT, where there was just a single response. It was just really just, some formatting differences and some wording differences on the questions I was asking it. So
yeah, it's cool. It gives you the ability to view other drafts, which is what you're referring to there. And,
right.
It's a little bit lengthier on some of them, different, worded, like you said, worded a little bit differently. It's interesting comparing Bard. I mean, we only have one version of Bard versus the 3 versions of ChatGPT that have come out in the last, 30 seconds or so. And they just keep rolling them out. But, as ChatGPT seems to be getting, quote unquote, smarter, it's also getting lengthier in its replies. I don't know if you've noticed any of the new ChatGPT 4.0 replies that are out there, but they're like, articles instead of short replies or even just, quick paragraph kind of a thing.
Yeah. I noticed the difference in Bard out of the box was that there was a lot of citation in terms of where it was pulling the information from.
On things that it actually has something to cite immediately.
Yeah.
I've done several questions in a row just playing around with it here, and I got one that had a source when I asked it, who is Tab Geeks? It gave me tabgeeks.com. So.
Yeah. So yeah.
That's pretty much it there.
Okay. Well, yeah, like you said, this week is mostly news updates again. And this week we have, I think, the same as we did last week, 11 updates. There are 11 news updates. Mm-hmm. Very minimal on the actual updates this week. Just 2, and then 1 in the end-of-week recap. So that is kind of a good episode for me because I'm also not feeling that well, as you can tell from my voice, and I will try to hit the mute as quickly as possible in case I sneeze, which I've been doing a few times in our prep time here ahead of recording. So
Appreciate you not blowing our eardrums out.
My hand is hovering over the mute button here so I can quickly do that. So, all right, let's get through this while I'm still kind of feeling okay. So let's run through those topics and then get into them real quick. So silent release there at the end of the week was that there's some enhancements to Google Drive mobile experience on Android tablets. Releases this week were two, and those were improvements to content organization in Google Docs, and also the ability to add and remove client-side encryption from a Google Doc. Then in other news, Bard is out, sort of, talking about just Bard in general. Then we have the responses that we were kind of feeding Bard and what those were, what those questions and what the questions and responses were. Then we have try Bard and share your feedback. That is just the announcement there from Google. A Bard FAQ. All right, Jesse, these are just. I thought these were like news articles. These are just more like information links. All right. So maybe not nearly as many news articles from published sources, but okay.
Well, I had
still
mercy
a lot
and
of
didn't
topics.
post all of those.
All right. Now we get into our first actual article here, The Verge. So
Okay.
Google opens early access to its ChatGPT rival. Here's the first impression. So that's from The Verge. This is a CNBC article. Next here, Google CEO tells employees that 80,000 of them helped test Bard AI and warns things will go wrong. That was kind of an internal memo that they sent around. Email. We got a video here from the Wall Street Journal. Bard AI is boring. Google explains why they want it that way. Another video here about downloading the new Google Meet app. Interesting one there.
This is less news and me more going, what the hell?
Yeah.
More on that.
Okay, so I think that's just the transition from Hangouts probably to Meet. Something like that. Yeah. Video, got a few videos here from YouTube. So Linus Tech Tips Hose. So that's kind of around security and access to sites, and it's not just usernames and passwords. How you can get access, and maybe also a little bit of security awareness training to your staff and what you can learn there. So that's actually a pretty good one to think about and be aware of and mindful. Yeah. Next, Verge article here talking about some questions for the employees behind Google Docs. That's interesting. I missed that one. Didn't read that one yet, but that sounds pretty relevant to Workspace.
Yep.
And then finally, a Cloud on Air post here about Cloud Technical Series. This is focused on APAC, so stay up late and watch that. Or it's probably on demand, so it could be all right to watch it when it's done. But they've gotten a whole bunch of different times here, so. That is Cloud Technical Series about, looks like data practitioners.
It's getting started. It's very early.
In cloud and data. So that is lineup for today's, whenever you're listening to this day episode. This episode, yes. And I'll just jump into that first silent release there at the end of the week. So that enhancement of Google Drive mobile experience on Android tablets. So this is going to be an optimization here for the Google Drive app for tablet displays, and things like shifting the navigation bar to the side, optimizing visual components to take advantage of a larger screen, and making it a little bit easier to see file details for a selected file. That one has rolled out to rapid release domains, and then is launching to scheduled release domains starting the 3rd of April. And some nice big images side by side. To look
Beautiful.
At there. Yeah.
And the update is very well done. This is a great update for anybody who uses this.
Yeah, not bad.
I don't have an Android tablet, so I couldn't tell you, but looks great.
I don't have a tablet anymore. I haven't used a tablet in ages.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like seems like they were just a thing for a while, and I don't see anyone using them anymore.
Android tablets?
Do you?
Everybody uses iPads?
Tablets? No, tablets. I don't see people using iPads. I don't see people out anywhere using them.
Oh, yeah. No, if I'm out, I'm carrying a Chromebook or my MacBook Pro.
Yeah.
If I...
my tablet
is next to my bed. When I'm feeding the twins in the middle of the night, I'm watching YouTube on my tablet. If I'm have an idea for an article in bed, I pull out the tablet and I type it out on that. I have a Magic Keyboard attached to it, so I've got a real solid keyboard feel to it. But
just because I don't have a tablet, I guess.
Yeah. If you had a bed computer, as I like to call it,
yeah, that's probably what that is. I probably would.
Bed / couch / I mean, it's a weird place right now because so much of what we do is taking advantage of, deep levels and capabilities of the browser, and a lot of that isn't available on tablets Gmail sucks on a tablet. I don't know if it's any better on an Android tablet, but it sucks. The Gmail app is garbage. It's just a stretched out version of the mobile, like of the small screen iOS app, and it doesn't have any of the powerful features that I would use with the keyboard shortcuts or anything like that. It doesn't, it's very streamlined and slimmed down, and I don't want that. I have literally a keyboard and mouse hooked up to my tablet. Let me use it, or even just give it more capabilities, more power. It feels very slimmed down. I do not like the Gmail experience. Google Docs, great, sure, wonderful experience.
I've heard, I've heard a lot of feedback for a long
browser.
time on iOS Gmail apps or iOS Google apps have not been as
And they announced that they were addressing that, but
great
I'm still
as
waiting.
they've been. Yeah,
Like,
I don't know. I like the Android
reboot
ones.
that I'm seeing here.
I don't have the tablet. I don't have a tablet though to check out things like the keyboard shortcuts, but from an Android app perspective,
right,
they're solid.
I did bring home a Samsung Android tablet from the office. I guess that runs Android, even if it's Samsung's weird version of it. I could probably start playing around with that.
Yeah, it shouldn't affect the app.
It's tiny though,
Google's
so
app. Yeah,
it's like a 7-inch.
but the functionality would be the same.
6-inch. Yeah. So. Yeah, I guess it would. But yeah, I'm glad to see them actually giving some attention to it. I mean, Google exited the tablet game and kind of forgot about it for a while, so not their priority.
All right, next update. Improvements to content organization in Google Docs. So some improvements here for formatting and customization, options for tables of contents in Google Docs, some new ways to style them here, 3 default styles. You can toggle page numbers, toggle the tab leader styling, and include the indent headings based on levels. So make things a little bit fancier there in your table of contents. I use the table of contents every once in a while. It's nice to have some different ways to present them.
Yeah.
I've always liked the simplicity of the Google Docs table of contents, but here's some more options for you people coming from Word, I guess.
I actually forget to put a table of contents in there because it automatically generates the outline on the left side.
Yeah.
I just assume everyone knows it's there. You want to navigate to a part of the doc?
Yeah,
there
if you're using
is.
headings.
Go for it.
Yeah, if you're using headings and things like that.
Yeah.
That's right. So they're also reorganizing options included in the table properties sidebar in Docs to make it easier to find and utilize table formatting options. So you'll notice a new table section with alignment preferences and a new cell section with clear cell-specific formatting options within the table properties sidebar. And a bunch of end user features here to improve that experience with Docs. And a rollout for this one is going to be a rollout that started already on the 20th of March for rapid release domains on a gradual rollout up to 15 days for visibility. And then scheduled release domains will start on the 3rd of April on a full rollout with 1 to 3 days for visibility on that one. That's for the table of contents rollout, and then the table sidebar rollout. That is going to be for both rapid release and scheduled release domains, started already on the 16th of March on a gradual rollout up to 15 days for visibility. So, yeah. Seems like March 20th. So, I was like looking at the dates. I'm like, that's... So they announced it after it was already released.
Yeah.
4 days after the feature came out, they posted it.
Yep.
Okay, interesting.
Again, everybody's busy integrating, generative AI into their apps. So we get the trickle down updates. Oh shoot, we pushed that one out.
Let's talk about
update the blog.
Well, they were probably waiting for the March 20th release on the table of contents to bundle it together is what it was. Yeah. All right. Available to all Workspace customers and the legacy G Suite Basic and Business, as well as personal Google accounts. And then last of the updates for this week is the ability to add or remove client-side encryption from a Google Doc. So you can now choose to add the client-side encryption to an existing doc or remove it from an already encrypted document. Under File, make a copy, add or remove additional encryptions. So it gives you that flexibility to control the type of encryption you want on that doc as the project evolves and progresses. This is going to be rolling out already to rapid release domains on the 23rd of March. A gradual rollout up to 15 days for visibility, and then scheduled release domains. This will start on the 6th of April on a gradual rollout up to 15 days for visibility, and available to those customers that have client-side encryption, which would be Enterprise Plus, Education Standard, and Education Plus customers. That's it for me. Over to you, Jesse.
That's all she wrote for that part of the show. I'm starting to feel like one of those, retired football players that, if anybody who watches football, calls the game and makes analysis based on having like a teeny piece of information and guessing what the team was thinking. I don't know why he made that decision, John. He totally should have gone for that. And if I were the whole department is busy working on AI, and so therefore don't have time for any other features of the blog. I hope I don't sound like that, but in my head, that's kind of what I'm starting to feel.
That's kind of, you do. It's very, it's very speculative, but probably somewhat accurate, yes.
Well, it's going off of, what has happened in the past. Like I've said before, when everybody went all hands on deck for Google Plus, everything else suffered. It's a little bit different now, obviously. It's 15 years later, but
speaking of Google Plus, Currents is going to be shut down pretty soon.
Ooh, that's right.
I saw an article about that, or a tweet or something like that.
Well, why don't you put it in the notes here for the other news?
Because I forgot.
There you go. You're sick. We'll give you a pass.
But keep an eye out for that. Currents is ending quickly soon.
Yeah, go see our show notes from, what was it, last week, the week before. We had a very in-depth Q&A article on the timeline and what to expect, and that was an article that was a part of the Google Cloud Connect forum, Google's official workspace forum, and in the Workspace Administrators section. So go and check out our previous episode for that. Okay, on to the fun stuff. So Bard is out, sort of. And the reason why I say sort of is because, you have to join the waitlist. And you can't use it if you have Google Workspace. You have to use a Gmail account. And it is an experiment. And who was I listening to? Was it MKBHD on the Waveform podcast, or trying to remember? They said basically Google has diluted the beta name so much to the fact that they labeled Bard an experiment. It's not a beta anymore. Beta is something that Google actually launches and uses for close to a decade before taking the beta name. Yes, I'm talking about Gmail, for taking the beta label off of it. Now Bard is just an experiment. Bard came out and has a lot of people talking about it. Is it as good as ChatGPT? No, not really. Is it trying to be? No, not really. And that's kind of what we're going to get into here, is the different things that you can do with it, and some of the different reactions that are out there for it. We had asked it some questions here. Steve asked it to write a blog post on the best Google Workspace updates from 2022. And it started off, Google Workspace is a suite of cloud computing, productivity, and collaboration tools that helps teams work together more effectively. It includes Gmail, Docs, Drives, Calendar, Meet, Chat, and more. That's going to be part of 2.0, the wrap. Or maybe we'll make it a country version song this time. Anyway, Google Workspace is constantly evolving.
Not country. No.
I knew it. We'll do it a rock version then. Google Workspace is constantly evolving with new features and improvements being added all the time. Here are some of the best Google Workspace updates from 2022. So, similar to what some of the other people have done, where you can write a YouTube episode in the style of X, Y, and Z, you can do those types of questions here for Bard. And it actually has some good data, because it was trained on a more recent data set than ChatGPT. And one of the questions that I had for it was, what is the data cutoff date? Because quite frankly, I was curious. ChatGPT originally was only able to access information ending in 2021. And so the answer here for the data cutoff is, my data cutoff is the date after which I no longer have access to the data that I was trained on. This date is not publicly available, but it is likely to be in the range of a few months ago. End quote. Then it says, after my data cutoff, I will no longer be able to generate text, translate languages, write different kinds of creative content, and answer your questions in an informative way. However, I will still be able to perform other tasks, such as following instructions and completing requests thoughtfully. And I looked at this and I went, huh? That is two different answers, and only part of it makes sense. So the part here where it says that the date is not publicly available, okay, fine. It is likely to be in the range of a few months ago. Okay, cool. That means it's a relatively recent data set. But then it says after the data cutoff, which was a few months ago, according to what it just told us, it's not going to work anymore. But it works. It is currently working. That's the whole point of it. So I'm not really sure what it was getting to there, and maybe I'll ask it a few more questions later and try and get some clarifications on that. But I think it's not so much letting me look under the hood as much as I want to do. So onto one of the other updates that we have here, which is basically saying that it's going to have glitches, it's going to have problems, and in fact, I'll go back here. It says on the bottom of the chat box, Bard may display inaccurate or offensive information that doesn't represent Google's views. So Google is keeping it very, very, very restrained on this one. The next article that we have here is the official post on the keyword. Try Bard and share your feedback. Very much want to have our feedback. They very much want to have, typical Google, they want to have a lot of feedback so that they can put together their research teams and actually figure out what's the best way to do this going forward. But Google's been at this for so long. I was kind of really hoping that they'd come out of the gate swinging a little bit harder than this and let it off the chain a little bit. And I understand what's at stake here and the fact that if it starts getting into weird Nazi shit and actually, talking about being sentient and whatnot, then Google's going to have problems. But, it's also, okay, fine. It's not as restrained or as seemingly as dumb feeling as working with Siri or Google Assistant can be at times. But still, like this, give us a little bit more. Anyway, that's my personal opinion. Goes through the article here and it talks about Bard, how it's powered, a research large language model, LLM, etc., etc., etc. We all know most of this stuff already. But again, multiple times in this article, large language models will not always get it right. Feedback from a wide range of experts and users will help Bard improve. In this response, Bard got some things wrong, like the scientific name for the ZZ plant. I can't even pronounce that. Actually, Zamioculus. Zemlifolia. Not a botanist, people.
Is this the keyword article?
Yeah. It's in the keyword article. Sorry, I'm jumping around a little bit here, but I'm tying it all together here.
Yeah.
The point that I'm trying to make is that it is saying multiple times, Google is saying multiple times, we don't know what it's supposed to do. This is what we think it's going to do. This is what some of the answers it has are. We're still trying to figure it out. Help us, please. Please help us. Please give us your feedback. Please tell us when it gets things wrong, because it's a big job, I guess. So one of those areas here is the ability to have drafts. And one of the reasons why it's doing that is because it wants to be as helpful as possible to as many people as possible. So it says that it gives multiple drafts so that you can pick the best starting point for you. And that's like we were saying at the top of the episode here, is the way that it does it is it words things a little bit differently and arranges things a little bit differently rather. And some are longer than others, some are formatted differently than others, and so on. So. Last thing they go into on this article is that they are trying to build it responsibly, which is a little bit ironic considering that they keep firing their AI what's that word? Ethical advisors, whatever the word for it is. But essentially, they're going slow. They're trying to figure it out, trying to make sure it is really high quality, really safe. And that's a good thing, we're not against that. So if you want, sign up to try Bard, bard.google.com, I think is how you get there. Yeah, bard.google.com. You do need to sign up with a Gmail account. They began rolling out access in the UK and the US today, which was March 21st. And they started opening up pretty widely, it seems, because my old-ass original Gmail account that Google hasn't seen active in a long time was let in. So I'm not as special as Steve, who got in early because he's a Pixel superstar or whatnot.
I think I just signed up early, and I signed up when the announcement came out, and I think they just started gradually letting people in.
Yeah, I did not. I was asleep when the announcement came out because I had been up all night with the twins, and I got a text from Steve saying Bard is out, and I went, oh shit, and went and tried to pull up all of the articles on it and try and read as much as I could about it. I
had it by like 5 o'clock the day it was announced.
Oh wow, yeah, no, I did not. All right. onward from there is I posted here the Google Bard FAQ because there's a bunch of stuff in here that is actually very interesting. Can Bard help with coding? Bard can't help with you coding just yet. Bard is still learning to code, and responses about code aren't officially supported for now, so no ChatGPT co-coding style yet. But apparently it's learning, so it's working on that. What are Google's principles for AI innovation? How can I make Bard better? Who can use Bard? How many languages does Bard support? Right now it's only available in English. What data is collected and how is it used? That's a long answer, so I'll let you go and read that there. Who has access to my Bard conversations? They don't sell the information and they take privacy very, very seriously, but they do select a subset of conversations and use automated tools to help remove PII, personally identifiable information. These sample conversations are reviewed by trained reviewers and kept for up to 3 years separately from your Google account. So, anybody who got pissed off at Google for listening in on our conversations with the Google Homes, well, your questions are potentially being looked at here, even though they are technically removing PII. So be careful what you ask our AI robot overlords, because some humans may look at them. Interesting here. Do you use my Bard conversations for advertising purposes? I don't remember seeing this on the ChatGPT side, but I also didn't read their FAQ. But it does say here specifically that they are not being used for advertising purposes, and we will clearly communicate any changes of this approach in the future. So Google, given the fact that they're, massive cornerstone of their entire infrastructure in terms of what pays for all of their everything that they do, other than all of us who are paying for, products, is advertising. And so that's obviously top of mind. Okay, onward to The Verge, continuing along with Bard. I'm going to let you read this if you're still interested, because I don't want this episode to go on for 3 hours, but essentially goes on to talk about a lot of things that we just mentioned here, as well as what the Verge staff thinks about it. Yeah, go ahead and read that if you're interested. I'll skip that onto the next one. This is a little bit interesting look under the cover here. CNBC says that Google CEO tells employees that 80,000 of them helped test Bard AI and warns, quote, things will go wrong. There was a memo that went out on Tuesday and says that user feedback will be critical to its chatbot's success, which, again, they're just saying everywhere, so obviously they want that to be a big part of it. And user feedback is critical to improving the product and the underlying technology. So really, really interesting here, their approach. And as more people start to use Bard and test its capabilities, they'll surprise us. Things will go wrong, which I wrote in an internal email to employees. So, yeah, Bard is fun, but be careful and watch out, because things are going to go weird, and keep testing it and keep giving it your feedback. Give it your feedback. As we've mentioned earlier here, Bard is boring. Bard is being kept on the leash. Bard is not being allowed to do a lot of things we want it to do, and Google wants it that way. And that's what this Wall Street Journal video is talking about here. It's a YouTube video from the Wall Street Journal. There's probably a video, a print article to go along with this. I can try and find it and put it up there. I have a subscription, so I can post a link for free for anybody if I can find it, and you'll be able to read it instead of watch the video if you like. But the video is an interview with between Joanna Stern and one of the or the head of Bard, Sissy Shao, I believe that's pronounced. The quote here from the head of Bard is, "This is a powerful technology. We want to make sure that we understand how to bring it in a responsible way to people." And that is obviously going to continue to be Google's message across the board. Responsible, safe, careful, might make mistakes, we're learning, etc. So I thought that was an interesting video, and I always like seeing a little bit behind the scenes and whatnot. So the next one, this was weird. Google put out a short. Actually, it wasn't a short. It was the size like a short, vertical, but it's it's a minute and 33 seconds, so it's not a short, because shorts have to be under 60 seconds, but it is basically a reminder and an ad to download the new Google Meet app, because the old one is deprecated, because they made the, shoot, I'm blanking on it. What's it called? What they merge with?
Duo?
Yeah, Steve. Thank you.
Duo.
Yeah, it's right here on the video. I'm an idiot. They made Duo the official app for Google Meet app, map. And they are getting rid of the old one because they're merging all the features together. But the thing that I found weird about this, and the reason why I put it in here, is the voice behind it. Maybe I'm missing something here, but the voice behind, not behind, but the voice on the video is a bad robot voice to text sound or text to voice sounding robot.
It is, isn't it?
And here, you know,
Yeah.
I've never done this before, but
I listened to
I've never done this before, but I'm just going to play it right here.
Duo and Meet have combined into a new Meet app for video
Like-
calling and meetings across all
I know it's
devices.
not, but I will. I'll do it in post. So Steve's all confused.
Oh.
It's in my,
Open
it's
the
in my
Play
head.
Store or
I'll
App
do it in
Store.
post. Don't worry, Steve. I
Search
got
for
this.
Google Meet and
Why? A, could have used a human. B, much better tech exists. And C, Google invented it. Google invented a lot of the tech that is much better than this. Like, really? I don't know. Maybe the voice. Anybody who's watching this video, you can tell me. Maybe I'm culturally inept here. Culturally, maybe I'm not with the latest thing that's out there. Maybe this is a voice from
There's a lot
TikTok
of
or something. Like I don't know.
Well, no, that's not what it is. But there's a lot of
It's not the TikTok voice.
No, but there's a lot of AI voices now being leveraged on videos. So they might have thought, hey, let's just use
the
one that we
worst
have.
one out there.
I guess.
I don't know. 6.8 thousand views on this video on the official Google Workspace YouTube account. I don't know. Look, Google, we love you. I don't like giving you shit, but every once in a while, it's going to be done. All right. On from that, that was just something that I had to put out there because goodness. Linus Tech Tips. For anybody who's been in tech for more than 5 minutes and has over the years seen videos and honestly memes of Linus Sebastian, one of our most favorite goofy Canadians and one of the top YouTubers in the world who's constantly fighting with my favorite MKBHD for tech YouTube supremacy on the consumer side, got nailed, got hosed, got hacked by what turned out to be a loaded sponsorship offer letter that was sent in as a PDF, and it included a exe, an executable file for Windows. And when the offer letter was opened, it launched the program. And what it did is it cloned the Google Chrome browser and sent that off to the attacker's machine. And because the session cookies were active on the browser, the session cookies were active on the attacker's machine. And so they were therefore able to gain access to everything that they were logged into on the original device, on the device that had downloaded this file. Yeah. And what makes this so difficult to defend against is the fact that they had two-factor authentication. They were using Google Authenticator. They had, I believe they even had security keys, if I remember correctly, in place. And they were using good passwords. They were following all of the things that we talk about constantly of what you're supposed to do. And still their channel got hacked and turned into, for anybody who's on YouTube for more than 5 minutes, will see these Tesla scams that show up all over the place where it shows what looks like a live feed, or it's live technically, but it's a feed of Elon Musk talking about something with Tesla. It looks like he's being interviewed, but it's all basically advertising and shilling a crypto scam where it shows quote unquote live users sending Bitcoin over and getting 2x Bitcoin back, etc., etc. We've all seen these before. And this video that they made here that I'm posting, or that I have included in the show notes here, is a master study in postmortem and in what you should take a look at and think about how you would approach should you be in this situation, and what your systems look like and how you can work to try and protect against this. Now, the thing is, and what makes this so difficult, is that for something like this, I mean, fine, it was an EXE. So anybody who's on a Chromebook and on a Mac, you're fine. Don't worry about it. But Windows machines are all very vulnerable to this, and it's possible that these attackers will elevate their game and start including, ways to make this happen on Chromebooks and Macs as well. But I don't know why the antivirus didn't catch it, number one. But number two, the reason why it's so difficult is because they were doing everything supposedly right.
I mean,
go ahead, Steve.
I mean, I think the Windows the attack vector piece is a critical part of minimizing use of Windows machines. Is one thing. You could have your content creators creating, maybe they need to use Windows machines because they're more powerful, they're more economical to create content in, right? But then what?
No, but okay. They're not more powerful, but okay. No, I'm just kidding. It's
Yeah,
an
well,
ongoing, never-ending argument, one of which is addressed in this video.
oh
Is
yeah, I
why
mean, well,
they're using some
I
of those
guess.
machines and
Oh
others.
yeah, I didn't watch the whole thing. But yeah, then put the logins to the secure sites, or to the actual upload of the stuff on Chromebooks, on more secure sites. Put in blocks to Chrome extensions. Only have certain allowed things to be installed. Preview things in a PDF preview, not in Adobe, for example,
Yep.
the Acrobat Reader, things like that.
Yep.
So,
But here's the thing. They're not completely at fault here. YouTube has a big hand in this. This has been going on for years. There's a video from 2 years ago explaining this. There's lots of people on Twitter complaining about this. Lots of people that are getting hit with this constantly. Lots of channels that are much smaller than them and don't have the access and abilities that they have to work with Google.
This is relevant though for any site. This is relevant. I mean, if you're getting
100%,
access
100%.
to the browser tokens, anything, banks. I mean, well,
Here's the thing, right? Is
that
why
times out after minutes, right? So there's just
why
very short session
is it
limits on
okay? Yeah, but why is it okay that a session cookie that's live on one system, on one IP, with the fingerprinting information that we have about that device, shows up and starts showing activity somewhere else and not immediately locked down and suspended completely? Why is that not a thing? Why is that, like, the tech is there to do things like this on GCP, is it not? If you have a GCP account and you want it totally locked down, security key, how would you do that, Steve? How would you protect against a cookie stealing attack like this?
So I mean, I think, I mean, you have I'm trying to think here now, with identity access management, you have the ability to look at different geolocations, IPs, controls there. I don't know how it applies to the session cookies though, and if it will, I don't know if the session cookies will even start to monitor that or not if you have it. I'm not sure. I mean, it should be constantly monitoring. It does constantly monitor if, for example, you are in the office and then you move into a cafe, and context-aware access will automatically block you out once it recognizes an IP change. So there is the ability to do that. So you can define those things. So. Yeah.
I knew you would get there. It was just you're a little foggy at the moment, so
threw me off guard there. Yeah.
threw you off with the cookie thing. But yeah, exactly. It's 100% is if all of a sudden you show up somewhere else and showing up as you, and there's no freaking logical way that you could be doing that, and you are not able to additionally authenticate from there to say, yeah, okay, I went and remoted into my office computer because of X, Y, and Z, to re-authenticate in there. Like, there's a careful balance, as always, between usability and security, right? Total security is basically zero usability, and vice versa. But there's also, a time and a place for you to have maximum security. Like, for example, if you start trying to delete 100 videos on a YouTube channel, are you sure you want to do that? Number one. Number two, are you sure you're you? Can you please confirm that you're you? This should not be okay. And so that's something that I think YouTube has grown to the point where, more and more channels are getting to this level and are getting hit with things like this. And it's an area that YouTube maybe just hasn't. I mean, I'm not a part of the partner program yet, so I can't tell you at the higher levels what they have and, what additional factors or features come with that status. But it seems to me, just in the regular interface that I'm in, there's not much in the way of checks and balances to make sure that is taken care of. So if you have a YouTube channel, definitely watch this video. But also from a security standpoint, definitely watch this video and just learn from, this is what's going on. This is a sophisticated attack. This is targeted. This isn't even phishing. This isn't even, it's sort of a virus. It is, in a way, it's a virus. It's a loaded package, but it wasn't caught by antivirus. And I mean, I'd put good money on betting that all of the Linus Media Group folks have antivirus on their machines. I'd be shocked if they didn't. Let's put it that way. So this is still developing. There's a lot of videos out there. Another channel that's friends of ours that we're friends with has also just released. I'm trying to find it here. I have to grab the link for all of you because it's also a good one. Is Lawrence Tech, and they have a whole bunch of things of what they've learned from this and how they're protecting their channels and whatnot. So I'll grab the link for that and drop it over here as well. So, but yeah, definitely go and check that out. A lot of good information there. I mean, it's crazy the amount of people that are talking about it. Everybody knows Linus, and he's been there kind of forever. Some people have a love-hate relationship, or just love or just hate with him and with the channel. But that's, I guess, a discussion for another day when the show hasn't been going on forever. Okay, the next one is a Verge article here that is, I don't entirely agree with it. Some questions for the employees behind Google Docs. Why is the toolbar a different color? Why is it oval when the buttons it features are square? Okay, fine, I hear those. Are you aware that this is ugly? Seriously, what is the logic behind the oval/rectangle divide? Do you think it's important for us to notice the toolbar? And so on and so forth. It continues on like this. I don't entirely agree. I think that it actually is a nice refresh. I think that maybe there's a couple of tweaks that could be done here, but hey, everybody's too busy working on implementing generative apps into their products. So design, I guess, takes a back seat. But what do you think? Is the new Google Docs update ugly? Is it weird that certain things are rectangles versus ovals?
I mean, it was a little bit weird, as it was rolling out, as I had the early access to it. It's kind of just become what it is now. It's when you look at it side by side, when I had it, one version on the left and another version on the right, it just looks a bit odd. But now it's all the same, really.
Yeah.
So I don't really notice it anymore. It looks fine.
Yeah, same. Looks fine to me. Sure, I can see the fact that there's more rounded circles as part of the previous design and more of a rectangle in the share box.
Yeah.
Okay, they'll get there. Yeah. It was just an interesting article. That was
I saw one comment in it. I was like, have you guys looked at your own website?
Yeah, their own website they just actually recently redesigned it to make it the way that it is now, and it is it's out there. It is definitely interesting as far as design goes. I don't understand a lot of the decisions that they made on TheVerge.com either, but The Verge is one of my favorite publications, so don't get me wrong. I love those guys. But yeah, their website is a little bit funky, but I think that their website is also, like many things Google, an experiment that they're still tweaking, and they'll get there just the same as Google Docs will. So stay tuned on all of that.
There's like this whole big gray section at the top. It's really weird.
Yeah, I think that's for an ad. That's for an ad.
Oh, and I've got ad blockers.
You have an ad blocker on.
I have
that's
DNS.
an ad.
I have DNS blockers, yeah.
Yeah, right now
Okay.
It's an ad for a CRM.
Okay.
Hey, I'm not paying for it, so they got to make money. So it's, okay, the ad is there. Sure, makes sense. Okay, the last thing that we had here for those of you that are just getting started in Google Cloud or interested in getting started in Google Cloud or have people who are and want to stay up late because it is APAC focused, or as Steve mentioned, it'll be on demand most likely here, so you will be able to watch it. It is I think it's a 3-day Google Cloud Fundamentals technical series going into pretty much looks like everything you need to get started. And it starts off with our friend Chanel Greco as a developer community session, my experience as a woman in tech on day one here. So, props to Chanel. Love seeing her out there. And a lot of good people presenting on here, just going through the list here. A lot of names that I recognize. And looks like it's going to be a really awesome event. So if you're interested in getting started with Google Cloud, then go and check that out. The dates here are March 27th, which, oh good Lord, is today. So you're going to miss the beginning of this because I'm not publishing this episode until tomorrow. But it goes until March 29th. And,
actually, it's live right now, Jesse. It is live.
It is live right now. I'm looking at the live button. I'm like, why is that live?
Yeah.
Right. It's live because it's live, folks. Live from New York, Switzerland at this point.
Yes.
Unfortunately, I can't get this out to you all right now for you all to know to immediately watch it, this is live now. But hopefully this will be recorded and you'll be able to go and watch it because a lot of good content looks like it's going here. So With that, I guess we'll wrap up this show. You know what to do. Hit the like button, hit subscribe, give us 5 stars on your podcast app, tell your friends. We are really trying to get into the YouTube partner program that I mentioned before. That requires us to have twice the amount of subscribers we do now. So please tell your friends that we're not only the best source for Google Workspace news and updates and analysis, but also a lot of things, interesting videos in business technology, whether it's networking or SaaS Showdown, which is our other show, or the interviews that I have to get back to doing and promise to very shortly over on Heroes of IT. Get people to subscribe, please. That's all for this week. What? What'd you say?
I was just saying she's actually it's a big presentation. She's on stage and everything right now.
Oh, really? Wow. I didn't open it.
I'll send you a link.
Good for her. I'll have the link. I just didn't open it. Good for her.
Oh, well, the
Well done.
YouTube link, the one without the gating registration.
Oh, okay. Yeah, shoot me a link. All right. That's all, folks. Have a great week. We'll see you next time on Workspace Recap.